Hey warrior, someone just betrayed your trust, spread lies about you, or took credit for your hard work. Every fiber of your being wants to scream, to fight back, to show them who they're dealing with. But what if I told you that the most powerful response isn't always the loudest one? What if your silence could speak volumes and deliver justice more effectively than any words ever could? There's an ancient wisdom that says, the universe has a way of balancing itself. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is step back and let life teach the lessons you cannot. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This isn't about being passive or weak. It's about understanding that some battles are won not by fighting, but by allowing natural consequences to unfold. Here's a powerful think. A fool is always loud. The wise are almost always quiet. Think about the last time someone wronged you. Maybe it was a colleague who stabbed you in the back, a friend who betrayed your confidence, or someone who tried to make you look bad. Your first instinct was probably to defend yourself, to set the record straight, to make sure everyone knew the truth. But here's what I've learned from studying Stoic philosophy and watching life unfold. Sometimes the universe is already preparing its own response. When we constantly feel the need to defend ourselves, to prove our worth, or to get even, we're actually giving away our power. We're letting others control our emotions, our actions, and our peace of mind. The Stoics taught us that true strength comes from within, from knowing our own worth regardless of what others say or do. There's something magical that happens when you choose silence over reaction. When you don't immediately jump to defend yourself or strike back, you create space for truth to emerge naturally. You allow people to reveal their true character without any help from you. You give karma the room it needs to work its magic. I'm not talking about being a doormat or letting people walk all over you. I'm talking about strategic silence, the kind that comes from deep inner confidence and trust in the natural order of things. It's about understanding that some people will dig their own graves if you just hand them the shovel and step back. The ancient Stoics faced persecution, exile, and even death, yet they maintained their composure and dignity. They understood that reacting to every slight, every injustice, every unfair treatment would only diminish their own character. Instead, they focused on what they could control: their responses, their thoughts, their actions. Today, I want to share with you 9 specific situations where your silence will speak louder than any words ever could. When you master these 9 moments of strategic silence, you'll discover something incredible. People start to respect you more, not less. Your reputation grows stronger, not weaker, and justice finds its way to your door without you having to chase it down. So before we dive into these 9 powerful moments, I want you to do me a favor. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose silence as my strength and let karma speak my truth. Like this video. Comment your thoughts below. Share it with someone who needs this energy. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can grow stronger together. Let's begin. Number 1. When someone tries to provoke you into an argument. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have a talent for pushing your buttons? They know exactly what to say to get you fired up, to make you lose your cool, to pull you into a heated argument that serves no one. This is the first and perhaps most important time to embrace the power of silence. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who was born a slave and faced unimaginable hardships, taught us that no one can hurt you without your permission. When someone tries to provoke you, they're essentially asking for your permission to disturb your peace. Your silence is your way of saying, I don't give you that power over me. Think about what happens when you take the bait. You get pulled into their drama. You say things you might regret, and suddenly you're operating at their level. But here's the beautiful thing about staying silent. It forces them to reveal their true character while you maintain your dignity. They end up looking like the aggressor, the unreasonable one, the person who can't control their emotions. When you refuse to engage with someone's provocation, you're doing something powerful. You're taking away their ammunition. They can't use your angry words against you later. They can't point to your reaction as justification for their behavior. You become untouchable, unshakable, and ultimately unbeatable. The ancient Stoics understood that arguing with someone who's trying to provoke you is like wrestling with a pig. You both get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their behavior back to them. Often, they'll realize how they sound and either escalate to the point where others see their true nature, or they'll back down because they're not getting the reaction they wanted. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When you consistently refuse to be provoked, something shifts in the dynamic. People start to see you as someone who has their emotions under control, someone who can't be easily manipulated. Your reputation for being level-headed and mature grows, while the person trying to provoke you starts to look petty and immature. This doesn't mean you become a pushover. It means you become strategic. You choose your battles wisely. You understand that not every provocation deserves a response, and that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. The karma in this situation is beautiful to watch. The person who constantly tries to provoke others eventually becomes known for it. People start to avoid them, to not take them seriously, to see them as someone who can't be trusted to have a mature conversation. Meanwhile, your reputation for being calm under pressure, for being someone who doesn't get drawn into unnecessary drama, becomes one of your greatest assets. Remember, when someone tries to provoke you, they're usually dealing with their own inner turmoil. They're trying to make you feel as chaotic as they do inside. Your silence becomes an act of compassion, not just for yourself, but for them too. You're refusing to feed their chaos, which might just give them the space they need to reflect on their behavior. Say it with me and type it proudly. I am unshakable in my silence. Number 2, when someone takes credit for your work. There's nothing quite like the sting of watching someone else get praised for your ideas, your effort, your late nights and early mornings. It's one of those moments that can make even the calmest person want to jump up and shout, "That was my idea." But here's where the ancient wisdom of the Stoics becomes pure gold. Sometimes your silence becomes the most powerful testimony to your character. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." When someone steals your credit, they're actually setting themselves up for a fall that you don't even need to orchestrate. The truth has a way of surfacing, and when it does, your silence will have spoken louder than any protest ever could. I know this feels counterintuitive. Your mind is probably screaming, "But people need to know it was me. I worked so hard on this." Trust me, I understand that feeling. But here's what I've learned from watching this play out countless times. When you immediately jump to defend your work, you often sound defensive, petty, or insecure. People might even question whether you're telling the truth. But when you stay silent, when you let the person bask in their stolen glory, something beautiful happens. First, you maintain your dignity and professionalism. Second, you force them to either come clean on their own or dig themselves deeper into a lie. And third, you create space for the truth to emerge naturally through your consistent work and character. Think about it this way. If someone has to steal your ideas, what does that say about their own creativity and abilities? They're essentially admitting that they can't produce quality work on their own. Your silence becomes a spotlight on their inadequacy, not a shadow over your contribution. The karma in this situation is almost poetic. The person who steals credit usually can't maintain the charade for long. When asked to elaborate on their idea, they stumble. When challenged to produce similar work, they struggle. When put in situations where they need to demonstrate the skills they supposedly have, they fail. Your silence gives them enough rope to hang themselves. Meanwhile, your continued excellent work speaks for itself. People start to notice patterns. They see that you consistently produce quality ideas and work, while the credit stealer has sudden bursts of brilliance followed by periods of mediocrity. Smart managers and colleagues pick up on these patterns faster than you might think. Your silence also does something else. It forces you to find your motivation from within rather than from external recognition. The Stoics believed that the only true satisfaction comes from doing the right thing because it's right, not because of the praise it brings. When you can create, contribute, and excel without needing immediate recognition, you become unstoppable. But here's the most powerful part. When the truth eventually comes out, and it always does, your silence will be remembered. People will say, "You know, they never said a word when their credit was stolen. They just kept working and stayed professional." That kind of character reputation is worth more than any single moment of recognition. The person who steals credit might win the battle, but they'll lose the war. Your silence becomes your strength, your dignity becomes your shield, and your consistent excellence becomes your sword. You don't need to fight this battle with words. Your work will do the talking. Number 3. When someone spreads lies about you. This one hits deep, doesn't it? When someone spreads lies about you, it feels like they're attacking not just your reputation, but your very identity. Every instinct tells you to set the record straight, to defend yourself, to make sure everyone knows the truth. But here's where the Stoics teach us something profound. Sometimes the most powerful response to lies is to live your truth so loudly that the lies become obviously false. Marcus Aurelius faced this exact situation. As Emperor of Rome, he dealt with rumors, political attacks, and outright lies about his character and decisions. Yet he wrote in his Meditations how much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does. He understood that defending against every lie would consume his life and diminish his effectiveness. When someone spreads lies about you, your first instinct is to go into damage control mode. You want to call everyone who might have heard the lies, explain your side of the story, and make sure the truth gets out. But here's what often happens. You end up looking defensive, and people start to wonder why you're protesting so much. Sometimes the very act of defending yourself gives the lies more attention than they would have gotten otherwise. Your silence, on the other hand, sends a different message. It says, "I'm so secure in who I am that I don't need to defend myself against baseless accusations." It demonstrates a level of confidence and self-assurance that actually makes people respect you more, not less. What happened next was fascinating. People who knew me well immediately dismissed the rumors because they didn't align with their experience of me. People who didn't know me well got to form their own opinions based on my actual behavior, not on hearsay. And the person spreading the lies? She started to look petty and vindictive, especially when people noticed I wasn't responding in kind. The beautiful thing about lies is that they require constant maintenance. The truth is effortless, it just is. But lies need to be remembered, embellished, and defended. The person spreading lies about you has to keep their story straight, remember who they told what to, and hope they don't get caught in contradictions. Your silence forces them to do all that work while you simply live your truth. The karma here is particularly sweet. Liars eventually get caught in their own web. They contradict themselves, their story changes, or they get caught spreading lies about others too. Meanwhile, your reputation for being someone who doesn't engage in gossip or character assassination actually grows stronger. People start to see you as someone who's above that kind of behavior. But here's the deeper truth. When you don't immediately jump to defend yourself against lies, you're actually demonstrating the kind of character that makes the lies unbelievable. You're showing that you're secure enough in your identity that you don't need constant validation or defense. You're proving that you're more interested in being a good person than in being seen as a good person. This doesn't mean you never address false accusations. If the lies are causing real damage to your career or relationships, you might need to speak up. But often, the most powerful response is to continue being authentically yourself and let the contrast between the lies and your reality speak for itself. Number 4. When someone betrays your trust. Betrayal cuts deeper than almost any other human experience. When someone you trusted, a friend, partner, colleague, or family member, violates that trust, it doesn't just hurt your feelings, it shakes your faith in people. Your immediate reaction might be to confront them, to demand explanations, to let them know exactly how much they've hurt you. But here's where the Stoics offer us a different path. Sometimes the most powerful response to betrayal is dignified silence. Epictetus, who knew betrayal intimately from his years as a slave, taught us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When someone betrays your trust, they're revealing their character, not defining yours. Your response in that moment becomes a defining moment for who you choose to be. I know this feels almost impossible. When someone betrays you, every fiber of your being wants justice, wants them to understand the pain they've caused, wants them to feel the weight of their actions. But here's what I've learned. People who betray trust rarely respond to confrontation with genuine remorse. More often, they become defensive, make excuses, or even turn the situation around to make you the villain. Your silence, however, does something profound. It forces them to sit with their actions without the distraction of an argument. It denies them the opportunity to justify their behavior or make you the bad guy. When you don't give them a reaction to work with, they're left alone with their conscience. And that can be more powerful than any words you could say. Think about what betrayal really is. It's someone choosing their own interests over the relationship they had with you. It's a decision that reveals their values, their character, and their priorities. When you understand this, you realize that their betrayal isn't really about you. It's about who they are. Your silence becomes a way of saying, I see who you really are, and I don't need to waste my energy trying to change that. The karma in betrayal situations is particularly poetic. Betrayers often find themselves isolated because trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. People who betray one person usually develop a pattern of betraying others. Your silence allows this pattern to become visible to everyone around them. They end up creating their own reputation as someone who can't be trusted. Your silence also protects something precious, your own energy and peace of mind. When you don't engage with betrayers, you don't get pulled into their drama. You don't have to relive the betrayal over and over through arguments and explanations. You can focus on healing, on moving forward, on surrounding yourself with people who actually deserve your trust. But perhaps most importantly, your silence in the face of betrayal demonstrates incredible strength and maturity. It shows that you're someone who doesn't need revenge to feel whole, who doesn't need to tear others down to build yourself up. This kind of character attracts trustworthy people into your life while repelling those who would take advantage of you. The betrayer may never apologize, may never acknowledge what they did. may never face the consequences you think they deserve. But your silence ensures that you maintain your dignity, your peace, and your character. And in the end, that's worth more than any revenge could ever be. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence honors my worth. Number 5. When someone tries to make you look bad in front of others. Picture this. You're in a meeting, a social gathering, or even just hanging out with friends, and someone decides to embarrass you publicly. Maybe they bring up a past mistake, question your abilities, or make a joke at your expense. Everyone's watching, waiting to see how you'll react. This is one of those moments where your natural instinct screams at you to defend yourself, to fire back, to show them they picked the wrong person to mess with. But here's where the ancient wisdom of the Stoics becomes your secret weapon. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who faced public criticism and attempts to undermine his authority daily, wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When someone tries to make you look bad in front of others, they're essentially revealing their own insecurities and poor character. Your silence becomes a spotlight on their behavior, not a shadow over yours. Think about what happens when you take the bait. You get defensive, you start explaining yourself. Maybe you even attack back. Suddenly you're engaged in a public conflict that serves no one. The audience becomes uncomfortable. You look reactive, and the person who started it gets exactly what they wanted. They've pulled you down to their level. But watch what happens when you stay silent. When someone tries to embarrass you and you respond with calm composure, maybe just a slight smile or a simple, "I see," something powerful shifts in the room. The audience doesn't see someone who's been humiliated. They see someone who's unshakable. They see someone who's secure enough in themselves that they don't need to engage with petty attacks. The beautiful thing about staying silent when someone tries to embarrass you is that it forces everyone else to really look at what's happening. They see someone attacking and someone remaining composed. They see someone trying to tear down and someone maintaining their dignity. The contrast is stark, and it's almost never favorable to the attacker. Your silence also does something else. It demonstrates emotional intelligence and self-control. In a world where everyone seems to react immediately to everything, someone who can stay calm under public pressure stands out. This kind of composure is actually a leadership quality that people notice and respect. The karma in these situations is beautiful to witness. People who regularly try to embarrass others publicly develop a reputation for it. They become known as someone who can't be trusted in group settings, someone who might turn on you at any moment. Meanwhile, your reputation for being someone who doesn't engage in public conflicts, who maintains their dignity under pressure, becomes one of your greatest assets. But here's the deeper truth. When someone tries to make you look bad in front of others, they're usually dealing with their own feelings of inadequacy. They're trying to build themselves up by tearing you down. Your silence becomes an act of strength that actually helps them see their behavior more clearly. This doesn't mean you become a doormat or let people walk all over you. It means you choose your battles wisely and understand that not every attack deserves a response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to play their game. Number 6. When someone refuses to acknowledge their mistake. We've all been there. Someone makes a clear mistake that affects you, maybe even hurts you, and instead of owning up to it, they dig in their heels. They make excuses, blame others, or even try to gaslight you into thinking you're wrong. Your blood pressure rises, your frustration builds, and every instinct tells you to force them to admit what they did. But here's where the Stoics teach us something counterintuitive. Sometimes the most powerful response to someone's refusal to acknowledge their mistake is to let them live with the consequences of their denial. Seneca, who dealt with politicians and power-hungry individuals throughout his life, understood this deeply. He wrote, "A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. When someone refuses to acknowledge their mistakes, they're showing you exactly what they value: their ego over truth, their image over integrity, their pride over relationships." The hardest part about this situation is that it feels like injustice. You know what happened, they know what happened, but they won't admit it. Your mind keeps replaying the incident, building the perfect argument, crafting the undeniable evidence that would force them to confess. But here's what I've learned. People who refuse to acknowledge their obvious mistakes aren't operating from a place of logic. They're operating from a place of fear and pride. Your silence in these moments becomes incredibly powerful because it forces them to live with the uncomfortable truth that they're denying. When you don't argue with them, don't try to convince them, don't chase them for acknowledgement, something interesting happens. They can't hide behind the distraction of an argument. They can't point to your reaction as justification for their behavior. They're left alone with their conscience and their choice. What happened next was fascinating. Without the satisfaction of an argument, without the ability to defend his position against my attacks, he was left to sit with his choice. Over the following weeks, I watched him become increasingly uncomfortable with his own story. He started second-guessing himself, asking subtle questions about the client, and eventually, he quietly implemented changes that showed he knew exactly what had gone wrong, even though he never explicitly admitted it. The karma in these situations is profound. People who consistently refuse to acknowledge their mistakes develop a reputation for being unreliable, defensive, and difficult to work with. They lose credibility, not just with you, but with everyone who witnesses their pattern of behavior. Your silence allows this pattern to become visible to others without you having to point it out. But here's the deeper truth. When you stop trying to force someone to acknowledge their mistakes, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of frustration and disappointment. You stop giving them power over your emotional well-being. You stop waiting for their validation of reality to move forward with your life. Your silence also demonstrates incredible maturity and self-confidence. It shows that you don't need their acknowledgement to know what's true. You don't need their apology to maintain your sense of reality. This kind of inner strength is rare and powerful, and it attracts people who value truth and integrity. The person who refuses to acknowledge their mistake may never give you the satisfaction of hearing them say, "I was wrong." But your silence ensures that their mistake remains theirs to carry, their reputation remains theirs to manage, and their conscience remains theirs to live with. And that, in itself, is a form of justice. Number 7. When someone constantly criticizes everything you do. There are people who make it their mission to find fault in everything you do. Your successes are never acknowledged. Your efforts are dismissed. No matter how much thought, care, or skill you put into something, they always seem to focus on what you did wrong. Being around such chronic critics is emotionally draining. Your first instinct may be to defend yourself, to explain your reasoning, or to prove that you're not the failure they try to paint you as. But the Stoics offer a powerful counter-response. Don't feed their need for reaction. Marcus Aurelius, who governed Rome under immense scrutiny, once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This wasn't just philosophical musing, it was survival. He understood that external criticism only becomes powerful when we internalize it. When someone constantly criticizes you, it's rarely about improvement, it's about control. These individuals often use criticism to inflate their own sense of superiority or manage their own unresolved frustrations. The moment you realize that their harsh words reflect more about them than about you, the dynamic changes. Constantly explaining yourself, justifying your actions, or adjusting your behavior to appease them, creates a never-ending loop of emotional exhaustion. Critics like these aren't seeking better outcomes, they're seeking dominance in the conversation. But silence interrupts that pattern. When you stop reacting, you remove the fuel that keeps their ego burning. Your calm, measured silence says, "I hear you, but you don't control how I see myself." That subtle shift from reaction to quiet observation robs them of the emotional power they thrive on. You stop giving them authority over your self-worth. Their voice becomes background noise, not a command you must obey. And here's where karma comes in. People eventually see chronic critics for who they are. Their negativity isolates them. Others stop seeking their opinions, avoid sharing ideas with them, and leave them out of meaningful discussions. Criticism without balance leads to loneliness. Meanwhile, your reputation grows. You become known as someone who remains steady, someone who doesn't get rattled, someone who can take feedback with grace, but also knows when to disengage from fruitless debates. That level of self-control speaks louder than any rebuttal ever could. Most importantly, you start to focus on people who offer constructive insight, not constant disapproval. You begin to value your own opinion, your own progress, and your own peace above the noise. And in doing so, you reclaim your energy and attention for what truly matters. Your silence in the face of constant criticism is not weakness, it's strength, it's restraint, it's wisdom. Number 8. When someone tries to manipulate you through guilt or emotional blackmail. This might be the most insidious situation of all. Someone in your life, maybe a family member, friend, or romantic partner, has learned exactly which emotional buttons to push to get you to do what they want. They use phrases like, "If you really cared about me, you would," or "After everything I've done for you." They make you feel guilty for having boundaries, selfish for prioritizing your own needs, or heartless for not immediately giving them what they want. Your natural response is to explain yourself, to prove that you do care, to defend your decision. But here's where the Stoics teach us something life-changing. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to participate in someone's emotional manipulation. Epictetus, who understood the dynamics of power and control intimately, taught us that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. When someone tries to manipulate you through guilt or emotional blackmail, they're essentially asking for your consent to control your emotions and decisions. Your silence becomes your way of saying, "I don't consent to this manipulation." The tricky thing about emotional manipulation is that it often comes from people we care about, and it's wrapped in language that sounds like love or concern. The manipulator makes you feel like you're the bad person for not giving them what they want. They twist your compassion into a weapon against you. Your silence in these moments isn't cruel, it's self-preserving, and ultimately, it's the most honest response you can give. When someone tries to guilt you into doing something, they're not actually asking for your help. They're demanding your compliance. They're not expressing their needs. They're trying to control your choices. Your silence forces them to confront the difference between asking for help and demanding obedience. The karma for emotional manipulators is particularly fitting. They eventually push away the people who care about them most. Their constant guilt trips and emotional blackmail erode the very relationships they claim to value. People start to avoid them, to not share good news with them, to keep their distance emotionally. They end up lonely and wondering why no one wants to be around them. Your silence protects not just yourself, but also the relationship. When you don't engage with manipulation, you're refusing to let the relationship become transactional. You're saying, "I care about you, but I won't let you use that caring to control me." This actually creates space for genuine connection to develop. But here's the deeper truth. Emotional manipulators often learned this behavior as a survival mechanism. Maybe they grew up in environments where manipulation was the only way to get their needs met. Your silence, your refusal to participate in their games, might be exactly what they need to learn healthier ways of communicating. This doesn't mean you become cold or uncaring. It means you respond to their actual needs rather than their manipulation tactics. You offer support when appropriate, but you don't let guilt drive your decisions. You show love through healthy boundaries, not through compliance. Your silence in the face of emotional manipulation demonstrates incredible strength and maturity. It shows that you can care about someone without letting them control you, that you can be compassionate without being a doormat. Number 9. When someone tries to drag you into their drama, you know this person, always caught in a crisis, always needing someone to validate their outrage or join their crusade against the latest enemy. They come to you with their newest conflict, expecting you to take sides, to get angry with them, to become emotionally invested in their battles. Your natural response might be to listen, to offer advice, to try to help them solve their problems. But here's where the Stoics offer a different perspective. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to refuse to become a supporting character in someone else's drama. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire filled with political intrigue and personal conflicts, wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" When someone tries to drag you into their drama, they're essentially asking you to share their anger, their frustration, their negative emotions. Your silence becomes a way of saying, "I care about you, but I won't join you in this emotional chaos." The exhausting thing about drama seekers is that they never seem to run out of conflicts. There's always someone who's wronged them, always a situation that's unfair, always a battle that needs to be fought. If you consistently engage with their drama, you'll find yourself emotionally drained, constantly pulled into conflicts that aren't yours and surrounded by the same negative energy that follows them everywhere. Your silence in these situations isn't about being unsupportive. It's about refusing to enable their pattern of creating or attracting drama. When you don't immediately join their outrage, when you don't get pulled into their conflict, you're actually offering them something more valuable than validation. You're offering them a different perspective. The karma for drama seekers is exhausting to watch. They burn through relationships, push away people who care about them, and create a reputation for being high maintenance and emotionally draining. People start to avoid them, not answer their calls, and make excuses when they need someone to listen to their latest crisis. Your silence protects your own emotional well-being while also helping them see their pattern more clearly. When you don't get sucked into their drama, you maintain your peace of mind and your ability to be genuinely helpful when they face real problems that actually matter. But here's the deeper truth. People who constantly create or seek drama are often dealing with their own inner emptiness or boredom. They've learned to use conflict and crisis as a way to feel alive, to get attention, to avoid dealing with their own issues. Your silence, your refusal to participate in their drama, might be exactly what they need to start looking inward instead of outward for fulfillment. This doesn't mean you become unsympathetic or unsupportive. It means you learn to distinguish between someone who needs genuine help and someone who's addicted to drama. You offer support for real problems while refusing to enable their pattern of creating unnecessary conflict. Your silence becomes a gift to yourself and to them. You preserve your own peace while offering them the opportunity to find healthier ways of connecting and communicating. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence protects my energy. As we reach the end of our journey through these 9 moments of powerful silence, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what we've discovered together. We've explored situations that every single one of us has faced: the provocations, the betrayals, the manipulations, the drama. But more importantly, we've discovered that our response to these situations defines us far more than the situations themselves. The ancient Stoics understood something that our modern world often forgets. True power doesn't come from having the last word, from winning every argument, or from forcing others to acknowledge our truth. True power comes from the quiet confidence that allows us to choose our battles wisely, to respond rather than react, and to let our character speak louder than our words. Your silence in these 9 situations isn't about being passive or weak. It's about being strategic and strong. It's about understanding that some battles are won not by fighting, but by refusing to fight. It's about trusting that the universe has its own way of balancing things out, and that karma doesn't need your help to do its work. When you master these moments of strategic silence, you'll notice something beautiful happening in your life. People will start to respect you more, not less. Your reputation for being someone who can't be easily provoked, manipulated, or drawn into unnecessary drama will become one of your greatest assets. You'll find yourself surrounded by people who value peace over conflict, truth over drama, and authentic connection over emotional manipulation. But perhaps most importantly, you'll discover a sense of inner peace that no external validation can provide. You'll stop giving others the power to disturb your calm. You'll stop waiting for apologies that may never come, for acknowledgements that may never be given, for justice that may never be served in the way you expected. Remember, every time you choose silence over reaction, you're not just protecting your own peace. You're also giving others the space they need to reflect on their behavior, to face their own conscience, and to potentially choose a better path. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their actions back to them, often more clearly than any words ever could. The path of the Stoic isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Your silence is your strength, your peace is your power, and your character is your greatest achievement. If this message has resonated with you today, please hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more wisdom on living your best life. Remember, your silence speaks volumes, and the world is listening.